Constellation Cooperative Housing is a family-controlled, DDS-licensed group home in Massachusetts. Constellation was created by two families with members who were Priority 1 for DDS residential services. They fronted the down payment and the cost of renovations. The property is rented to a service provider on a year-to-year basis. The families use the rent from the provider to pay the mortgage and the property insurance. Constellation is a limited equity housing cooperative. Families own shares in the property and pay a carrying charge to cover property tax and a capital reserve for repairs. The lease automatically renews unless one of the parties, either the families or the service provider, objects. Under the lease, Constellation is responsible for normal landlord repairs such as the roof or the water heater. The service provider is responsible for any damage done by residents or staff. One family member functions as the property manager. Because families control the property, they are able to move quickly on certain issues as they arise. For instance, when families learned that residents might need to evacuate to a motel in the case of a power outage, they chose to invest in a generator. Families of all the residents have signed HIPAA waivers, which allows the families to collectively brainstorm with the provider about problems as they arise. Regular family meetings provide a venue for brainstorming, as well as an opportunity to discuss residents' recreational plans and to plan events like fall yard cleanup, family dinners at the house, and holiday celebrations. The families are involved in interviewing candidates for the house manager and assistant manager positions. They must unanimously support any candidate for manager, and a majority must support any candidate for assistant manager. Not all families whose members live in the house are shareholders. DDS and the service provider place additional residents in the home. These families have the option of becoming shareholders if they choose, either by purchasing a full share, for example at 1/5 of the original down payment of the house, or paying a smaller down payment and paying the rest over time. Whether families are shareholders or not, they participate in the family meetings and in providing input to the hiring of the manager and assistant manager. The positives of Constellation are straightforward. Families have a greater say than in a traditional group home. Provision of services is separate from control of the property. Residents benefit from strong family involvement, and management and staff benefit from families' deep familiarity with the residents. As with any operation that is more consensual than hierarchical, however, things can get messy. All parties are learning how to work together and building relationships. The downside has more to do with the nature of group homes. Because public funding is involved, residents and their families have no real choice in who else lives there. This has produced friction among a couple of the residents. Additional friction can be a function of several people with autism sharing congregate space. Perhaps a better arrangement than a traditional suburban home would have been an arrangement of suites with a variety of shared common spaces. This would allow multiple residents who each wish to micromanage their environments to do so with less conflict.